Great. Hi, everyone. This is our conversation for Journey Installment 22, which is the final installment, chapters 181 to 190. And this will be our final official Journey conversation that will be recorded and added to our YouTube channel collection so that the entire package is there. We have a conversation for every installment, and all the other stuff is on the website. So over to you, Rick. I'm so glad you could be here today.
Oh, thanks for having me, everybody. If it's okay, let's start off with a message.
Great.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This morning, dear brethren, the elevated selves of form are amazingly beautiful sights to see. We moved from theory to practice. Union was an abstract concept that has turned into everyday reality. A journey into the unknown is in actuality a PhD finishing school. It was the last piece of the puzzle, one that cemented your identity as soul, as deity, and one that actually provided an ongoing experience of union. It's not just a book that angered people. Christina made sure of that with the presentation, and we are making sure with our ongoing messaging. Something like this has never happened on the earth before. Today, this group goes off into the unknown as free spiritual, excuse me, pioneers. Oh, I'm getting choked up. You know what you know the way you know it, and you will be coming to know what your new identity will show you. Blessed be cadre of souls. And I will send that out to everybody later on today.
Thank you.
So thank you. I wanted to thank everybody for being a part of this. Of course, this is going to be continuing and who knows how many different forms. But I wanted to thank Christina for doing such a beautiful and amazing job. For those of you who don't know, she had only handwritten pages with lots of misspelled words to work with. And look at what she did with it. It's just this beautiful, magical creation.
Thank you.
Thanks to Jacques, who is doing the French translation. Thank you to, apparently there are some people who watch this later on Zoom. And so I only know one of those people, Georgie. Thank you, Georgie. Thank you all the people that watch this later on. Thank you for being a part of this too, even though you're not here with us in our little Zoom boxes. We know that you're here. So thanks to everybody. And now I'll open it up and feel free to comment on this new installment and anything that you'd like to share. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello. Bill, were you going to speak? You're lit up. No. Okay. I like to read the ones where it says to think about things or ponder it. And we got one in 181.5 where I thought was really interesting. The love lifestyle takes more bravery than being a member of a totalitarian elite military force. Think about this for a while. And I have been thinking about that. And I think because while we're together in this group and we know we're never alone, I think we really are being asked to kind of go out there as the individual self and just spread the light wherever we happen to be, which while we might look like we're solitary, we certainly have legions of angels and masters and friends behind us. So anyhow, I just wanted to share that. Hi, Jacques.
Hi.
Thanks, Judy.
Yeah, thanks, Judy.
Thank you, Judy.
Hi, Miguel. I just renamed you, so welcome. Haven't had you join for a very long time. I'm glad you're here. Can you hear us, Miguel?
Yeah. Thank you, Christina. Yeah, today I happened to get home early last year of
That's
school.
great.
That's why I can join. So
That's
yeah,
great.
I'm glad to be here, and I'm very grateful for what you and Rick do, and your the other lady. And yeah, I'm grateful. Thank you very much. I feel very excited about it, very happy about it all. So thanks.
Great.
And I share everything on my Facebook, everything that you sent, every message. I share it with everybody.
Yeah, I just discovered that yesterday, actually,
Yeah.
that you were
Wow.
sharing those on your Facebook page. Great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Zonia. I think she stepped away for a second.
I'll change her name if I can.
Hi, this is Paula. On that same 181 in paragraph 4, I love when when I get called out. Let me ask you this question. I love that. Do you know who you are in truth? I mean, I'm being called out. You know, it's like, okay, stand up. Are you truly free to love? You know, and I just was like, I love that paragraph. Ask your own true self, your soul, to show your brain where its blinders and roadblocks are. Be willing to look at them honestly and let them go their own way. I enjoyed reading that. Be more free today than yesterday. Be more loving today than yesterday. And I say, thank you. Thank you for calling me out and make me look at myself. I thought that was a great paragraph. I loved it. So I love a lot of these paragraphs. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Paula.
How are you doing, Jody?
I'm doing great.
Good.
You know what I'm amazed at is, you know, once you start this path and you open your heart up and you really step into your soul being part of your body, instead of, in the past, I had them as separate, like there was my body and then there was my soul. And when I step into them together and own my ability to create and to love, amazing things keep showing up in my life almost faster than I can think them, as far as just opportunities to love and ideas of ways to bring community together and ways to bring unity together in our family and in our town and with people. And it's just like my life's on fire right now. Whereas before that, I felt like I was a horse at a starting gate. And the gate hadn't been opened yet, if that makes any sense. That feeling of just restless energy. And the gate got open. I was like, go. And I'm having a blast. That's what I got to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. That reminds me of the website because you were, Jody, you were talking about the integration of the soul and the body. And so on the website is the body or the form, and then the content is there too, but it's all integrated.
Right.
You know? And so,
yeah.
and that's what we get to do now, is just integrate our experience. So
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I talk as well real quick. I've found it amazing that not only everything that I've been learning or integrating into my life through the journey, I find that also the teachings beautifully are showing up in multiple other different ways that just correspond exactly with every section, which is just it just more amazing. It's just, yeah, amazing manifestation that it so correlates perfectly and it's just fitting into what I need to be able to digest and step into this new state of being. And I love all you guys.
I'd like to tag on to that.
Thank you.
I'm feeling so much on board, so much connected, like I never was before. Every time I read a new chapter, I have the feeling that I almost wrote it yesterday. It's so fitting. I've never felt so much on board. I think it's the best expression I can find. Thank you.
Thanks, Jacques.
Thank you, Jacques. How are you doing, Bill?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Great to see you here, Rick.
Thanks.
I love seeing the notes, directly thanking you and Christina for what you've done in bringing this together, the role that you've played. This past week has been more of a time of just continuously accepting and continuously excited about what I'm reading as we were completing here the journey into the unknown, the material there, and accept that I don't know what else is going to be unfolding. I've got some ideas and I've chatted about them along the way, but this is more of a time for me of observing, of having more quiet time, more time to simply observe and reflect on each of the writings that we've got here, as well as the other readings. I'm grateful, I'm enthusiastic, I'm excited about it. We had my wife and I took a road trip up to Big Bear the other day, and amidst the time of getting up there, the first time I had been back there, it's just gorgeous. It reminds me so much of Northern California. And we had our new dog with us, and walking along the road, the dog got in front of Gloria, and she ended up falling, like straight flat. And one of her knee caps has been broken, and so we're doing everything we need to do to take care of her at that time. I see all of this as a message of, once again, that to focus here, to focus on what's in front of me, and to be doing that. So there's more caring activity, more home care, if you will, that I'm offering. Couldn't do it for a better person, I'll tell you that. She's honoring everything that I'm getting into and what she's exploring as well along these lines that all speak about our soul, that speak about our journey, and what we're now unfolding into, that it's like everything is pushing forward in the right direction. There's even a different energy I feel in the air that's been long gone for like 4 years. A different enthusiasm, if you will, about a new direction where what's unfolding for the country amidst the chaos, amidst the tension that we're dealing with, that may all of this be a time of bringing us together. I see that in this manner. I recognize that, in a morning prayer that I lead each morning, for the group, we recognize that this pandemic has brought this world together, broad consciousness together at a different level that I believe is ultimately serving what we are doing right here, right now. And it's no accident. We see this and accept this. So that's the gist of where I am right now, and just pleased to be here, excited to be a part of this circle and what is unfolding for us, as well as wherever else that may show up. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
To you.
I'd like to follow that a little bit because, Bill, you have described a very real situation that has just happened in your life. That is a perfect example of the part of this installment that I find the hardest to live, which is in chapter 186, where it talks about something that I have to correct in my own thinking. That things, what I observe, what I might be privy to, is supposed to look that way. It's supposed to be that way. It cannot, in fact, be any other way. This is tough for a light worker like yourself to swallow. And your own humanity may be telling you that something is wrong, terribly wrong. And it must be really hard, Bill. I've experienced that kind of thing, obviously, to be there with your wife, having an accident and falling. And so that for me, you know, when I see people or hear of things going on, is the hardest thing. And for myself as well, to remember that it is exactly what it's supposed to be. It is perfect, because after saying that it's correcting my own thinking, it is resistance to my own true nature that causes circumstances and events that range from mildly uncomfortable to severely disruptive. So that's kind of what I've been hanging out with, and observing everything that crosses in front of my nose and noticing whether I'm resisting or saying, okay, how do I respond? And I love that somewhere in this installment, it actually makes the link, because for me, that's been the practice, but it actually talks about the link back to A Course of Love and the art of thought. That's what it is. I know in A Course of Love, it gives a very beautiful, lovely example of the sunset, but the art of thought is applied to everything in front of our noses. To be there fully in our physical bodies and experience it with our senses fully, not to push away anything. And at the same time, to experience it in relationship to soul, to God, to spirit, to each other, to time. And notice the call for response and respond with love, whatever that looks like, because love responds in infinitely different ways. It's easy to do for a sunset, not so easy to do when you watch a loved one fall and hurt themselves, or when we get ill. So I just want to say thank you for sharing that. And it's what we're called to do.
Thank you, Christina. I just want to share one interesting little aspect of this that I watched unfold here. Three women were the first ones who were right there with me to work with Gloria on caring for her, and they were taking charge. I mean, I was kind of overseeing it and doing different steps, but they were there taking care of me, taking care of us throughout this. We then got her to the local hospital and got her home and all that. Of the three women, two of them were African American. Now, maybe you folks have been recognizing me talking about this whole matter about racism that I want to be addressing, I want to be dealing with. And the next morning, you know, I mean, when they were there was some tension, some energy going on, just grateful that they were there. But it was the next morning that I recognized, you know, amongst all the people who were around, these three young women, two of them Black, were there that were just right on top of it, helping us in doing what was needing to be done. And I just looked at that in line with this mission that I feel is unfolding for me in this regard. And I was just filled with so much love. And I recognized from that, I will not skip, I will not bypass an opportunity like that once again. Should it come up, to just tell them how much I appreciate it and how much I feel connected to what they offered at that time. Help us out.
I love that, Bill.
Move me the next morning. Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Thank you, Bill. That, you were transformed in that moment more than you have been transformed by all those workshops you described to me. You are a different person today than you were.
Yeah, thank you.
Bless
Thank
you.
you for the space.
Bless you. Whew.
How are you doing, Kate?
Oh, can you unmute, Kate?
Just unmute.
Can you unmute? We can't hear you.
Hello?
Oh, there you are.
There you are.
How are you doing?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, I've got my hearing aids in.
Are you having a good evening? Are you in England?
Yes, it's before my bedtime.
Okay. How did you enjoy the installment this week?
It's difficult to necessarily put things into words easily. When you can try and comprehend that something comes on your screen from Christ. You are receiving an email from Papa. You are receiving from a Creator's Son. And that changes your perspective beyond a blessing. I'm only just beginning to download the chapters, but there was something in chapter 12 which almost encapsulates the movement within all of our souls. I'll only read a tiny part of it. That's enough. You took this on a Wednesday at 3:30 in the morning. You are now in relationship with everyone and everything. Can the sun deny light and warmth to those it deems are unworthy? No, it is available to all, as is your light and warmth. This is the difficult sentence. You no longer need to be validated by human relationships. There is nothing they can provide because you have it all. You are not in need of anything a human could provide. You already have it all. Your energy and enthusiasm for life flows from the unity you have with your source. And I feel that the awakening of all beyond this group is the awareness that the source that we carry is all, and is all for all of us to share, regardless of gender, color, class, monetary, etc. But it's knowing the feeling of the warmth of Christ, knowing that the cells that we all carry are activated by his words to us on a daily basis. No wonder people feel renewed, excited, motivated, and joyous. I'm a cloud painter. I have a task to paint the clouds. And when you think of Christ's ascension, where did he go? All of us breathe the air through our hearts. We are all connected. And I think the wonder of what has been transcribed is, if you like, a language which we have remembered and we can restore again in daily living. Our hearts vibrate, and so they should. I think that's enough.
That was beautiful,
Amen.
Kate. Thank you.
Amen, amen.
Beautiful.
Thanks, Kate.
Thank you, Kate. Yeah.
Tam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. Yeah, I love just listening to you all. It's really nice. The phrase that was going through my head a lot this week was and is the extraordinary ordinary. How amazing this moment is. And I've known that, and I've felt that, and I tend to live from that. But I'm also quite isolated. I live in a rural area. I work from home. And last night I had a Zoom call with some friends and colleagues that I haven't interacted with since the beginning of the year. And it really was just right in front of my face, just how different my being is than than what others are experiencing right now. And it's groups like this that have allowed our blessing and our flourishing. So I sat there and I spent that whole time just glowing with them, trying to, and blessing. And I feel like the end of the year is coming and I'm going back out in the world. And the feeling of just being in love, it's just constantly being in love. So much so that, you mentioned relationship. I was loving my bowl of oatmeal. Oh my goodness. It was just, and everything's like that.
Yeah. Isn't that wonderful? I mean, that's so sweet. That's beautiful.
Thank you, Tam.
And
Sonia, how are you today, dear? Can anybody hear her?
No, she's on mute. Mute. Can't hear you.
She's actually not on mute. At least not shown as on mute.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Check your microphone on your computer.
Closed captions are working, so.
Yes, they are. And I must say, I watch those and it's pretty funny. Zonia, if she, it's pretty funny. And I hope she can read lips.
Well, everything you just said in the last 4 or 5 sentences came out just exactly what you said.
Because I was speaking clearly and into it. And slowly.
Well, no worries.
No, it is no worries. Anyway, just so you know, it's pretty funny.
It's Sonia, we can't hear you, darling. Your microphone's not working.
Well, Sonia, we love you, and we'll check back with you in a few minutes. Maybe it's something that'll fix itself.
And I just wanted to say that chapter, I think it was 184, was the one that really was about what you were describing, Tam. That whole thing of being incapable of anything but love. I mean, I'm looking at you and everything you said, and just the whole energy around you is like you're one big blob of love. And I can feel it.
I feel pretty globby.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. That's all I had to say. Thanks, Rick.
Lorraine, how are you?
I've been sitting here listening and tearing, thinking about everything that's been said. And Kate, when you spoke, I thought this is such maybe a confirmation. I usually come with so much enthusiasm, and I want to tell you all about my experiences and what has impacted me in the lessons or the chapters in the installment. And I love always the installments. There's always so much. I just will say about them because there's so much. I love the one that Christine did refer to as well, but I thought they kind of started with a bang. It says, "Dear Creator of the heavens, please bestow the necessary understanding so that we may reach the masses of humanity with our messages of love and the complete freedom that love always brings. And I thought, wow, you know, that stopped me right there, and I had to reread it. But it does end so gently. You are this knowledge. The truth has come to claim the earth as its own. Your life will never be the same. And in many ways, it is just beginning. So what I want to speak to maybe a little bit, if you'll allow me and listen, is this being here these last 20, 25 weeks, whatever it's been, and journeying with you. When I came to this, the only thing I knew is that I could come here and would not be invalidated. And I thought, oh, this just so resonates. Maybe this is here where I'm going to impart my knowledge or how I can contribute. And of course, it's been exactly the opposite. There's nothing I could have given to Journey. It's already here, but it's what you have all given to me. And I've been called here. It's an initiation for me of that experience of bonded union. And it's happened through the relationships here, the sharing, and then sometimes taking those beliefs or those thoughts, those ideas, and having to make them my own and experience them to give them life. And that's how we all express in each our own unique way. And also sometimes they were pebbles that had to be worked through. And it was trying to be honest with myself, honest, opening up, that I had to look at those, and those were so healing. So this whole journey has been a process that's brought me to wholeness, bonded union, and it's only beginning, and it's only beginning. I do feel, though, sometimes when you're in the process, I think I've maybe mentioned to this, Christine, you're in the whirlwind and you've seen me come with enthusiasm and sometimes can't even get my words out. You know, there's not time to reflect and to contemplate. And we are in that time of Advent where I am quieting down. In spite of the pandemic, and it's the world that has a pandemic. It's not even about a virus, although it's about a virus, but there's been such darkness. But I have to say that this has been one of the most happiest times in my life, and it's been filled with joy, filled with life and energy, enthusiasm, and yes, sometimes a bit of discomfort, but it has been, up to this point, one of the happiest things that has happened to me, one of the happiest experiences. So this is our last gathering as we know it in this way. We're only just beginning, so I know I'm definitely and deeply connected to all of you, but that bondedness, you know, it goes beyond. It's the shared consciousness, those cells that you spoke of last week, Kate, that we are all a part of and expressing. And all the new ideas that we've shared, and that they've always been there, but I've had to give birth to them in my own way. We've have that shared knowledge. So it's been so beautiful for me. And as we do, I actually look forward to a few weeks to do some review, some contemplation, and reflection, to spend time under the tree with Mary and the Christ child, dwell within us to birth it. I'm calling it a COVID Christmas because it's not going to be the noisy, loud, chaotic Christmas that I'm quite accustomed to. And that's wonderful. I'm looking forward to sharing Silent Night, Holy Night, right? But I do. So it's been a wonderful process, and I've probably said enough. I want to thank well, the cadre of souls, Jesus, Mary, for calling us together. We've stepped forward to represent the first, be the first pioneers, but all the pioneers, we're all called. And Rick and Christina and Joe, the team, those of you that have used yourself as instruments to bring this to us. I am so grateful, and I thank you and all of you for being here, and everyone beyond, because we are called and it is a new time. The energy and the light is shifting, and we're all experiencing it. This I know you guys are going through exactly what I'm going through. So it is certainly a shared journey, but I am very grateful. I love you all. Thank you. And I've probably said enough, and I love you all. Thank you.
Love you too.
Oh,
Love you,
thank
Lorraine.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Lorraine.
Thank you.
Cynthia, can
Thank you.
you hear us? Cynthia? Cynthia emailed me right before 5 o'clock to join. Can you hear us okay? Can you unmute and maybe tell us where you are? I'm so glad you could join.
Well, you made it possible, and I'm holding your hands in my heart with great joy.
I'm glad you're here, Cynthia. Thank you. So tell us a little about you.
A little bit about me. Well, the me from the past has gone, and the new me has been very present through A Course in Miracles and through A Course in Love, and now joining with you. And I'm always tuned in to Tina Louise Spalding and getting ready for her big webinar on Monday. And so I don't know if you all know about that, but if you don't, please check it out. I think yesterday was, maybe today is the last day to register, but she's channeling Jesus all day plus 2 other channels. So I offer that to you. And I was a close friend of Bill Thetford's. He gave me my first copy of ACIM, and I had the pleasure to meet the disciple Andrew, who was one of Jesus' disciples, as you all know. And he became a close personal friend, and he did a lot for the gay and lesbian community in New York. And Bruce Gregory, you may or may not have heard of him, in San Francisco, Bruce Gregory channeled and had been working with prisoners and cleared up the misconception about gay love. So I'll just leave that to you. If you're ever interested, you might check it out. And Jesus's take on that. So you probably have already read about it, but I wish you all a very happy holiday. And brothers and sisters, I am so grateful to be a part of your lives as you're a part of mine.
Thank you, Cynthia. Where are you located?
I'm located on top of a mountain above Half Moon Bay, near about 40 minutes from San Francisco.
Oh,
And Bill is smiling. Do you know that area, Bill?
unmute, Bill.
Can't hear you, Bill.
I spent 35 wonderful years in the Bay Area, primarily around San Jose. Loved it all. I consider that my homeland.
Oh, how nice to say that. Great.
And we have Rick Greathouse and Judy Youngins are both in San Francisco.
Really?
Yes.
My goodness. Well, let me just give you my home number. It's 650, whoever wants to call me.
This is going to be public.
Oh,
You might want to just drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. Or write to me.
Putting it out there.
All right. I would love to connect with any of you who would love to come into the embrace.
Yeah, well, I have
wide open.
I have her email address. Anybody wants to contact her, just write to me.
Write to me, write to me.
Or if you put anything in the chat, Cynthia, people will pick it up right away.
No,
Oh,
I bet I don't do social media. So thank you.
okay.
I do individual emails, but none of the other public stuff.
Okay. I'm just going to drop the questions and I put them there, but I didn't send them to everyone. So Kevin, I know you love the questions, so there they are. Thank you. Thanks, Cynthia.
Thank you, everybody. Virtual hugs.
Same to you.
Nice to meet you, Cynthia.
Thank you. Thank you. What a joy.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you. It's
Kevin?
lovely to meet myself. Over and out. You're all wonderful.
Kevin, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. It's quite something reading those last, all the lessons. I mean, what was striking me was quite a few things. I mean, obviously some of the emails about the revisiting judgment. It's always something that, for me, that whenever I see a message and those messages that come through, there's always something fresh, something I need to look at and be vigilant about. So it's always appreciated. But I really liked this process of recognizing judgment in a new way and how it's written, how it's spoken, and then quickly moving on from it, with the blessing. And the blessing I see is a very real, energetic now. It's a real thing for me anyway, as a practice. So that was really helpful. But one of the things that struck me, which was quite funny, was one of the sections that was talking about characters. It talks about characters and competition and recognizing winners and losers as these characters, but actually underneath it, which really resonated with me, was this looking at the world from a connected kind of soul level. The way that the words string together, that there was a temptation for me almost to rewrite my CV on a soul level to see what I could track. And that might be one of my next exercises, and it will be one of my next exercises. So there's a kind of creativity there with that. But I really like the fact that it really opened me up in many ways. I mean, this whole business of businesses and work environments and connections on a soul level, when you really identify with this, and the fact that you're in this house of illusion, whether you're in a house of illusion or the house of reality, and it was very gently presented how to be. If you're in the house of reality, you can pay a visit to the house of illusion, or if you're in the house of illusion. So there was that kind of wording and approach was very beautiful, really, and very helped me very quickly in land stuff. And it used the word again that it's, which I really like, from the early days of ACIAM. I never really could get through it initially, and I remember I needed to read other people who could read that stuff. But and it was and the word esoteric came out with Journey, that this isn't esoteric anymore, that this is common knowledge. It's language of everyone, really. You don't need to so there's that kind of it's an alive thing, and now it's free. So there's a whole new energy, I feel, with flood of energy I was feeling with this, in terms of freeing myself, freeing me to be creative my own ways, in very little ways, on a day-to-day basis. The opportunities there are many, just to be normal. And I think, as Kate was saying, that something there about the that it's that language that we've forgotten, really, and it's actually very simple language and very simple energetics underneath it, and the imaging and all the rest of it. So it's very beautiful, the embroidering of how the thing comes out. So it's really much appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. Irene, how are you today?
Oh, I'm okay. Um, I was going to ask Christina to send this to all of you, and I still might, but I thought maybe I'd read it. For many, many years now, I've sent a Christmas letter out because I never lived in the same state as all my friends and family. And this year, I started the Christmas letter way different than I had at any other time. And I started out with this little story. And so this is the little story that I'm going to read. Many years ago, I heard this story. True or not, I don't know. Either way, it is lovely. A young supermarket employee was collecting shopping carts in the parking lot when he passed an elderly lady. She looked so sad. His heart went out to her. As they passed, he said silently, "God bless you." She kept walking, then turned around and said, "Young man, I don't know what you did, but thank you." I thought, I can't do very much for other people, but I can do that. So since then, I've sent blessings to people I've passed on the street and people that I've met in supermarkets and the people that I see on the television. And most nights before I go to sleep, I send a blessing to everyone I can think of. And that now includes all of you. And I just want you to know that you were in my thoughts and prayers. That's it.
Thank you, Irene.
Thank you, Irene.
Thank you, Irene.
Thanks,
It was
Irene.
beautiful.
Irene.
It's perfect.
Thank you.
Judy, you're in such a beautiful setting there with the beautiful decorations behind you. It's so beautiful. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I signed up for something called Four Winds. There's a bunch of wonderful speakers that are talking December 20th through the 22nd, and it's free. But when I signed up, I got a reply from Bruce Lipton. I love Bruce Lipton. And Bruce has talked about this before. And what he says is, this whole COVID thing worldwide is just it's a reset. We had a reset. We couldn't continue the way we were going because we would become extinct. And this is basically what the cadre of souls and Jesus and everybody's saying. And he says it's got to be built on cooperation and not competition. So someone else was speaking about, but the totality of everything. He says you can think of yourself as a cell in the body of the universe. We're all part of it. We're all part of this oneness. And he just has a very clear way and very heartfelt way of saying this. It's a 2-minute video, and it's just, I sat there, I go, I love you. He's just so there with the truth. And then some of these other people that I've been listening to, and I posted one on the last video, what's his name, Rob Schwartz. He does the Soul's Plan. And he has a really good, he comes from it in this way, and he also channels Jesus. So he mentions Jesus and what Jesus has to say about this. That's why I shared that. But Jesus is popping up all over. I mean, we get the emails from Jesus and Mary, and it is, heartwarming. It's like so many other people that bring in other information. All of a sudden they go, and I got this message from Jesus, and Jesus is not someone they usually channel or that comes into them. So I just laugh at that because he's just showing up all over, which is a wonderful thing. all these messages and stuff. It just is, it's just great to know that we're not alone in this. We have the support of the universe. And that's why I like to send out those, you know, the things that we're supposed to ponder. If we are this holy child of God, what are we worried about? But it also gives us the caution that this love thing is harder to really do than some military action. And you have to think about that, and you have to consider it. And I think it's because the world is so not used to love, cooperation, and caring for other people, compassion. We're more prone to the competition, the fighting, the overtaking. So it's gonna, and I'm beginning to understand more and more my part in all of this. And I'm so very grateful for all of you and for that support that we're getting in the messages. And from, they're just coming in from all over. So it's really, really great to know that. I haven't really talked much about this to people outside of my classes, let's put it that way. People that are studied A Course in Miracles, A Course of Love, and all of that. We're finishing up A Course of Love, and those last chapters in A Course of Love are so powerful that I really suggest that we all reread those again. Who I am to you, who you are to me is just a real wonderful foundation from where
I would like to address this because years ago, I received another message from a very clear channel. She was called a shining star, and she was a close friend of mine. She recently transformed, but Jesus said that hopes were high when she set out, and she had far exceeded all expectations. Many channelings came through her to help other people. She was one of the 2,000 daughters of the Holy Spirit who had no material possessions. That means what it is to be poor in spirit is without material possessions, but you're so filled with spiritual possessions. Jesus said through her about 15 years ago that he was beginning a whole new era. Judy, this is why he's popping up everywhere. One filled with the spreading of eternal truths. This is one of those ways. And of course, we're hearing through all sorts of channels. He said, do not be concerned. You should be of good cheer because I have overcome the world. And you all remember that scripture. But the best thing is that in the end, you and I and all our partners, and I'm looking at all our partners, will overcome with eternal love.
Love that. I love that, Cynthia. Thank you. And Judy, when you were talking about the world is not used to this, you know, choosing being, I mean, the phrases that always come to me from Journey are, you know, loving unconditionally and blessing indiscriminately with absolutely no judgment whatsoever. But I was reminded of a line that took me aback in the last installment, actually, which, you know, it's easy for me to walk around thinking, oh, the world doesn't see me, the world doesn't recognize love. I mean, I'm just alone here and I'm blessing everybody. But it was chapter 171, verse 2, that kind of was a little smack upside the head, which said, all souls who plan on incarnating here know that it is not going to be an easy ride, just as you said, Judy. Giving love here involves receiving a lot of resistance. When I read that, I thought, oh, yeah, you're right. It is very hard. But then it goes on to say, not as much from others as from your own body-mind vehicle that you are activating. So that put me in my place. And I just wanted to read that out because I like to bring it home to ourselves, you know. We can kind of get out there with all these other people and channels and whatever, which is beautiful. I love listening to channels as well. but it's all here. As we move forward, it's like you are journey into the unknown. Each one of us is the message. If we have truly taken it in and digested it and allowed it to be in every particle of our being. I mean, look at Tam over there, this blob of love. I mean, seriously, you're glowing, you know? That's, if we walk around like blobs of love, I mean, who could resist? Thank you.
I will remind you it's 3 o'clock, but today my class was canceled, so I do not have to leave right after. But usually I'm the one who lets you know what time it is.
Well, I would like to give you a song that was downloaded to me, and I keep passing it on. And I would love for you to sing it after me, and then together. It's only 3 lines. All the love we can know, all the joy we can show, all the light we can shine. It is yours and it is mine. Okay, ready? All the love
Love
we can
we
know,
can know,
all the joy
all the
All
joy
the joy
we can show,
we can
we
show,
can show,
all the light
all the
all the
light
light
All the light.
we can shine.
we
can
can
shine.
shine.
It is yours. Come on, it is
It's
yours.
yours,
It's yours.
It's mine. Come on together.
It
Laugh
is
it out.
mine.
it's mine.
Together, all the love
All the
All the
love
The
love.
love
we can know,
we
can
can
know.
know,
all the joy
All the
All the
joy
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 can show,
can
we
show,
can show,
show,
light
all the light
the light
we can shine.
can
we
shine.
can
can
shine.
shine.
It is yours.
It
It
is
is
yours.
It is
yours.
yours.
It is mine.
It
It
is
is mine.
mine.
Well, singing doesn't necessarily get you into heaven. I'm glad.
It doesn't work on Zoom, unfortunately. There's a lag and it's, yeah. But that was fun. Thank you. That was fun. Thanks, Cynthia.
Thank you.
Miguel, we haven't heard from you. You okay?
Hi, this is Paul. I just want to say if I drop off suddenly, please say, I have to say goodbye because we're possibly going to have a power failure. My lights dimmed already. So if I don't get a chance to say I love you all. And it was a journey beyond words. So just in case, I might just suddenly disappear.
Love you, Paula. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
Thanks, Paula. See you soon.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Well, I actually have 2 questions. One is, Rick, are you going to be sad this is over? Are you relieved?
Well, I don't think it's really over. I mean, these Zoom calls per se, are over, but somebody else might start Zoom calls and invite us. And we really don't know what kind of creativity people are thinking about, but I think it's just ongoing. I know we've been promised that the messages are going to continue, and but everybody's encouraged to live in this new way and be creative and see where life takes you.
Yeah. I think just to say, I mean, last week I invited people to think about what they might want to do. And this is the last official recorded conversation that will complete the package of the offering of Journey in 22 installments. I'm considering having a call next Wednesday, more as a, not to be recorded, just as a sort of a ideas popping, if people want to talk to each other about what they want to do next. This is just the beginning. The ripples are going out.
Well, that was my
Cynthia is here because she was on Tina Spalding's Community, where some people have been sharing a journey into the unknown. And so I infiltrated and began posting and talking there. And People there have ideas of what they'd like to do as well. So it's completely open, complete freedom for every soul. And I feel, and you'll know for sure when you get the newsletter on Saturday what I'm doing, but the intention, I'm dwelling in that intention of not quite knowing, coming to know, is to open the same time and space next Wednesday just for a chat and maybe a glass of eggnog, holiday cheer, you know, whatever we want to do. But it won't be recorded. It's not formal. There'll be no facilitation. We can dance and do whatever we want. Okay. But I'm more thinking if anybody has ideas landing for what they want to do next, we can just talk about it, you know.
Well, that was my second question is, can we still continue just to keep each other encouraged and stay connected, having Zoom calls? I mean, I was just curious.
We'll talk about it next Wednesday because it won't be through me, because I feel it is no longer up to me to have this space regularly for people. But we can talk about what you'd like to do, and you know, things open up, support shows up, you can do it. Yeah.
Okay.
My assignment, like Rick was actually a very good example because his assignment was to receive this material, right, Rick? And you were very, very clear that you almost didn't want to have anything to do with the rest of it. It was like, here it is, run with it. And of course he was available if I wanted to talk, but 9 times out of 10 was whatever you think is right, whatever you say, whatever. And that's how it went. So I realized very quickly early on that it was up to me and Joe, my co-creatrix, Joe Nagel, who was enabled us to actually put it, technically speaking, onto a website. So I feel my assignment that landed in early April is completing within the next week or so.
May I add this? We are each a thread in God's perfect cosmic tapestry. If pieces of if each thread was exchanged with another because we envy someone's thread, the pattern won't fit together. So I just love thinking of us as pieces of the tapestry. If you want to say pieces of the puzzle, fine, but I can just picture this beautiful tapestry being woven and each of us a beautiful thread.
Thanks, Cynthia.
Thank you, Cynthia.
So thanks, Christina and Rick, for everything.
Thank you.
And we'll talk next week, you know, whatever ideas pop, because there are 8 billion different threads, 8 billion golden threads weaving the new.
I hold this entire series and this gathering as our holiday gift, or my holiday gift for this. And I accept it and celebrate it. I'll see you next week.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Likewise.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Love you
Bye,
all.
everyone.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you.
See you next week.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.